Palace, high above 3773 East Broadway. This is a live edition of the Jake Feinberg Show, coming to you on Power Talk. Please go to our website, powertalk.live. Download our free app to your smartphone so you can stream all of our live local programming, including Solomon on Blast, the Jim Parisi Show, and yours truly, the Jake Feinberg Show. Can't thank you enough for making us part of your day today. And when the spirits call, they do so in very mysterious ways. But it's always cathartic to connect with younger cats, people from my peer group or even younger, who are looking to extend musical vocabulary on the bandstand through rhythm. And the next cat that I'm about to talk to is somebody who lets her body dance. Her rhythm is pulsating through her body, and the vibrations that come through that are on the trap set that she plays incredibly well with a lot of great feel, and still trying to find her own individual sound, as we all are, still growing in her own way. Live from Taiwan, Wen-Ting Wu, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show.
Hello.
How are you, my friend?
I'm very good. Thanks for having me.
Can you talk about letting the body dance and allowing that four-way coordination to exist when you are really playing? You know, you're splitting your brain kind of in fourths and allowing your feet to drive rhythm and also playing on the top of the kit?
Yeah. For me, first of all, of course, it takes a lot of practice. But I think one thing that is really important is that you gotta have the sound first. So if you know what you're going to play and you have that sound in your mind, that helps a lot for your body just to try to achieve that.
Can you break down the sounds in your mind? A lot of older cats that I talk to, they'll say younger cats can't hear the sound in their minds. They can only hear what other people are playing. Dizzy Gillespie had a sound in his head for his trumpet. He was the only one that could make that sound. That's why he sounded the way he did. What sound is in Wen-Ting's head?
I think the sound in my head, it took me a long time to really, how can I say it, really make it sound clearer and clearer in my mind. And I guess that just comes from listening to a lot of music and figuring out what kind of sound I really like. So that's like when transcribing comes out. Like sometimes I listen to music and I feel like, oh my God, this sounds so good. And I'll try to figure out what he plays, and not just what he's playing, it's like how he plays it. So I'll try to imitate the feel and the sound, the texture. Why he's playing like that, it's because he feels like that.
Right.
And he's just expressing the feelings through the sound.
Right.
So I think for me to incorporate the feeling and the sound together, that's like the whole thing for me to come up with what kind of sound that I'm looking for.
People can transcribe Elvin Jones solos, but they're not going to sound like Elvin.
Yeah.
Can you talk about, I haven't seen you live. I'm very much hoping to see you play live sometime, but can you just talk about how you developed feel? So much of what happens today with, I just turned 40 years old, and my generation younger, and I don't want to paint with a broad brush, but I mean, it's just very chops-driven time in music. A lot of heavy facility, and I wind up staring at the wall. I'd much prefer somebody who has less, maybe not great, amazing chops, but they just have great feel. Can you talk about the evolution of feel for Wen-Ting Wu on the bandstand, how that evolved?
For me, the first thing that I think is really important for being a drummer is that you have to have a good time, like steady time.
Sure.
And it also comes from good feel. And it's also related to what I was saying about the sound in your head, because if you had that groove in your body, in your brain, in your mind already, you know how it's supposed to feel like. And I mean, for me to um, express like that, I receive it first from the masters. So when I listen to the music, I dance with it and I feel what they were feeling when they were playing. So that's why I'm really trying to like every time I play, I try to play in that kind of spirit and that kind of mindset. And it's just also like checking out different players because everybody has different feels. When you talk about Alvin Jones, Billy Higgins, Roy Haynes, Philly Joe Jones, Jimmy Cobb, Art Blakey, they all have so many different feelings and the way that they play the swing, but they're all like swinging so hard. And for me, it's like really listening to a lot of their playing and trying to find what's the similar part and also try to feel what's their personal style. And then I try to digest all of it and figure out what I like and what is for me, what works for me, and what I like to express.
Everybody has their own human heartbeat, so they have their own human rhythm. I mean, was was Wen-Ting somebody who are you somebody liable to be going down the street, sort of bouncing to your own rhythm? I mean, most people say you walk in that rhythm, you play in that rhythm. I mean, can you talk about, you know, for you, how early, how early you were able to get on the bandstand and be able to experiment with your own individual sound?
Mm, for me, I think I started, um, I think my process of learning the drums and the music, it's, it took me a long time to just deal with the technical problems.
Mm-hmm.
Like I always feel something inside of my body and my soul, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But for me to express it freely, it took me a lot of time. And I think that that also um, comes with how much you know about yourself. Because when I was younger, I spent a lot of time imitating other people, like the masters, the drummers that I like. I just want to be like them. But then, as I grew older, I know more about myself and I know more like why am I playing like this? Why do I like this player? Why I like this particular phrase? Why? But as I try to think more and deeper and dig in more, then I try to develop my individual sound. And also, it relates to when you play with different people too. Because different musicians, they have different personality. And sometimes I sound different playing with different musicians. I'm still me, but like when I play with different musicians, it just kind of inspire a particular part of me. Like some saxophone player, maybe they're very melodic, so I tend to play like more like pretty, beautiful sound, you know. And some maybe like brass player, they play more aggressive and they have like they pop a lot of notes. Then that's when like I like to drop a lot of bombs on the bass drum, on the cymbals, just to
I love it.
just
I love it.
yeah, just to like that part just it just works like that.
I mean, you. Uh, it definitely depends on the settings, but I mean, like are you from the Duke Ellington School of Music? I mean, is it all music to Wen-Ting, or is it? I mean, is you know? I mean, like, are you dropping bombs in a rock setting or only in a bebop setting? I mean, what I'm trying to say is, like, you know, what it comes down to is, do you tend to keep time? How do you use the top of the drum kit to keep time too?
Mm, you mean what kind of music style or?
Well, like Kenny Clark used to always, like, like that. I mean, you listen back to, like, the 50s, the masters of bebop and that kind of music. I mean, those
Yeah.
guys, even post bop to a degree. I mean, I mean, they had such individual wild styles, and to my ear, they're just not playing 4/4 on the bass drum. They're
Yeah.
keeping a
Mm,
lot of time on the top, and
mm,
and I'm just trying to get the idea of how you use the top of the kit, not just for colors but for timekeeping as well.
mm. For me, if you're saying about like swing style,
Just in general, just in any style. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, if I go to a rock concert, I have a really hard time
yeah.
dealing with the formulaic quality of just rock. Just the pulsating double bass drums drives me crazy. It's been
Mm,
it's become the main timekeeper, I guess. And I just wanted
mm,
to know how liberated you get in terms of keeping time in a
mm.
non bebop setting. I guess that's what I'm kind of trying to get at.
Interesting. Um, I feel like if it's pocket music,
Mm-hmm.
it just has to be in the pocket, like everything. For me, when I think about pocket, I also think about what those sounds they're represent for. So bass drum, it's kind of like heartbeat. This is what I always tell my students. A bass drum is more like a heartbeat. And snare drum, it's more like a clap. Like when you think about it, it's like always on 2 and 4, with backbeat music.
Mm-hmm.
Music.
That's right.
So that's when the clapping is coming. It's coming because like that's just like holding all the time together. It's like the hi hat in swing. And the hi hat for me, sometimes I'll think about shakers or percussion, because that's like laying a nice background, nice bed for the whole band, and just giving them a very clear subdivisions for them to lay on it. So when I think about those functions of those um, um, drums, like bass drums, snare drums, um, I that's how I form like where the pockets should be and how they should sound like. So that's when you really make the time works.
We're talking to an absolute genius here. How old are you, by the way?
I'm 27.
You are just a young, wonderful woman. Here, I got a game on this program called Name That Voice. I want you to take a listen to this voice, see if you can get it, and then we'll come back and break it down, okay?
Okay.
So this song is called The Wandering Songstress. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hi, yeah. 你呀，你指引小妹妹唱歌，浪走进浪呀，咱们俩是一条溪。哎呀哎呀哟，浪呀，咱们俩是一条溪。Okay, that was Chinese version.
You recognize that voice?
No, I kind of know that song.
Right. That song. It's a mutual friend of ours. I wonder if you've collaborated with her. Is Vivian Hu?
Hello?
Yeah, that's that was sung by a mutual friend of ours on Facebook, Vivian,
Mm.
Vivi who.
Oh, that's Vivi.
Yeah, Vivi. Have you played with Vivi before?
Um, I'm not sure, but we were in the same program at school.
Get out of here! Because I interviewed her in August, and that was her on my radio program
Right.
singing. So I wanted
Oh
to.
yeah, I played with her before. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Can you talk about the? I think it's just so special to be able to find two brilliant melodic people playing this timeless art form of music. And can you just talk about when you guys played together and how it felt?
Um, I think it's interesting because Vivi is from China and I'm from Taiwan and we both speak Mandarin.
Well, I mean,
But
the mother of my children is from Taiwan, and I've been there 4 times,
oh,
and
nice.
yeah, well, but every time I look at a box, it says Republic of China in Taiwan.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, they always fight and bicker, but they, both of them need each other. So, quite
Yeah.
honestly, Vivi and Wen-Ting you are both wonderful. I consider you Chinese, but you are from Il Formosa, of course.
Yeah, like I consider myself Taiwanese, but I also understand it's just very complicated
Well, are you
situation.
part of the DPP?
Part of what?
The political party that wants to break away from China and just be Taiwan.
Oh, I am not part of that, but I consider myself a Taiwanese. That's all I can say.
Well, I must say the Taiwanese food is the great. I've been my ex-wife is from Donggang, so it's the south of
Mm,
Kaohsiung. So we went back many times and had many spiritual experiences there. I received the Tao. So I'm very
yeah.
tapped into the Taiwanese community. And I love cho tofu and
So tofu,
Joe
shanty
tofu and
tofu.
Shenzhen, and you go to Shenzhen, the whole town smells like Joe tofu, and Taiwan food is the most delicious food in the world. And
Yeah.
but Vivi, yeah. So what was the school? Was NCC or something? What was the school that you went to?
Oh no, I studied a jazz program here in New York. It's Queens College.
Wait, are you in New
And
York right now?
yes, I am in New York right
Are
now.
you kidding me? Vivi and you should be playing all the time together. I know she's on a China tour right now, but so you met her at Queens College, and then can you talk about? Well, you just were making the point that you both. She could theoretically speak many. I mean, you could speak Taiwanese. Obviously, you speak Taiwanese and not Mandarin, but you both spoke Mandarin. So how did that
I
work?
speak Mandarin, Taiwanese, and English.
Very well, I must say. So how did
Mm.
that? How did that work together between the two of you? How did you meet? I mean, you guys were in the same year, the same class.
Yeah, we were in the same program. She was there before me, and I mean, the interesting part is that we all speak Mandarin, and we all came from the Chinese culture, but we're both like learning jazz, and
That's what I'm talking about. You're learning an African American language.
yeah, but I feel like that's just humanity, you know? I think the reason why I really like about jazz is like I feel a lot of humanity in this music. I just feel it. That's what I just said, like with all those drummers. I just I don't know why I just feel like I feel what they were feeling, or either I'm very curious about what they were feeling, you know? It's just really inspired me. And but when you break down those emotions of human beings, I guess it's just the same no matter what color you are, no matter what country you're from, and you just find the people you like similar type of vibe, you know? And I don't think that really depends on where are you from or what race you are.
I agree. I agree with you mostly. I do feel like there, as an African American art form, it was, and that's never been fully recognized in the country that it was created.
Mm-hmm.
Certain periods of jazz or melodic improvisation. I hate labels, but some of the music is anguished cries. There's no doubt that it's the calling out, the repression, the being held down against their will, and it doesn't necessarily have to be free music. It's burning
It
music.
is. That's what I mean. Like the reason, I don't know, it's a blessing or a curse, but how, like, for example, bebop. Why they play bebop at that period? It's because of the background, and they are trying to tell the world that black people can play, and this is our music, and I respect that. And I think it's just like, although I'm not African American, but I do encounter some situation. I feel like, man, this is just frustrating, and I am angry. I
Can
want to let it out,
can
and
can you talk? Can you give an example?
um, huh? Like just being, I guess, okay, I can share like the most recently one.
Yeah.
It's as a international student, um, I guess the situation now in the U.S. it's really making international student really a hard environment to work.
Some would say that just to get a work visa or just to get gigs in music.
Or like working on campus, because like it used to be, it is still legal now, but it's just they're just creating a very complicated environment, like to go through all those different process, and like so that you can get paid. So consider that part, like nobody wants to hire you because they don't want to make that work. They don't want to go through that hard work just to like pay you. So of course they would choose US students, not international students. Even though if you can play or you have talents or you have good attitudes, it's just nobody want to spend extra time for that.
Explain in for a gig on the drums how that would. Are you just talking about?
Yeah,
Are you talking about like a work ed kind of generic job, or are you just talking about a gig on the bandstand?
no, like yeah, it's a gig, but it's just no matter what kind of job or work or a gig that you're doing, it's just hard as an international if your identity is
I
international.
agree, and I think in some cases we paint with such a
Yeah,
it's a
when you're
very
working.
racist society, but I mean it's like also like if you paint with a broad brush and step back, someone like yourself of Asian descent uh, maybe has it easier than somebody from the Middle East or even from Africa, because
Mm,
in our stereotypical society, Asians are very responsible and they're very they assimilate very well. But I don't.
mm,
So the point is this: you get burned up about that, and
yeah,
then you
or
take those. You got to.
and
Yeah, go ahead.
I just feel angry sometimes, or
Hmm.
I feel like I have to let it out because I feel like this is not fair, or I feel like why do I deserve this? I did everything that I'm supposed to do, and why is it still like this? And I'm not blaming anyone, or because I understand this is just a frustrating situation. And it's bigger than just a person. It's the whole society or the whole environment, the whole government, something like that. And and that's just frustration. And that when I go onto the drums, I just feel like I want to let it out. And that's when I feel like I feel Elvin Jones. That might sound a little weird, but
No, it doesn't, dude. I mean, that's called Elvin. There are cats that younger white cats that would come up from the Poconos in the '60s, after Coltrane died, and it would be like the quartet minus Coltrane, and they literally would be watching Elvin, and the paint would be peeling off the walls. That's how the poly. It was just and that is to be able to channel that kind of feeling and emotion into a language where you're not hitting where you still can have dynamics and it doesn't you're not bashing all over the place and that is a cathartic release. That to me is there's only two letters that separate magic and music, and I think you're hitting on that as I think it's a spiritual outlet and a release for so many people, and I love the way you painted it as an immigrant, as somebody who's doing everything that they can in their power to do it the right way, and it's still a struggle.
And it is, and I think if you think in this kind of way, it. How can I say it? Sometimes I don't think it's that complicated. It's not like, oh, I'm angry, I'm gonna channel this emotion into music, I don't really think about like that. It's just I just feel some certain ways and I want to express that feeling. And of course, if you want to create music, you have to put your work in it and try to dig in what's that and what's that. But when you break it all down, it's really just feelings that you would like to express or the things that you would like to say. So for me personally, I wasn't thinking, I'm so angry, so I'm going to write a song about this. It's not, for me, it doesn't work that way.
Sure.
It's like, I feel this, and I'm like, oh my God, what is this feeling? Why? And then I started to know more about myself, and I'm like, yeah, might as well just, write something. Or when I'm just playing drums, at that moment, I just feel like that. So I'm just playing in that kind of way. So for me, that's also a part, magical part of jazz. It's like, because it has more freedom, so you can just play at that moment how you feel. You don't have to play okay, this is dance music, so it's supposed to sound happy,
or repetitive over and over. You're not vamping on the same thing for 10 minutes. You can really, depending on, you have to listen to people.
Dynamic way. That's what I thought.
How I don't know when I'm going to be back in the New York area, but I'm just curious about when the gigs you have coming up the rest of this year.
For me, I just got out from school and I'm still writing more music to get a full set of my original music. So this year, I'm still in the preparation kind of stage, but I do play with other musicians.
So what kind of gigs do you play? I mean, I see you play. Obviously, I see your Facebook. You play with a lot of cats, but I mean, do you have any gigs coming up that you can talk about?
Recently, not really.
Okay, no, I mean, so you got a master's? Is that it? I mean, is that what kind of degree did you graduate with?
Jazz performance.
Wow. Do you? This is first of all, when I come back, I think I would like to just do a Facebook Live with you and Vivi on vocals and drums. Do you think that's possible?
Yeah, sure.
In Mandarin, all in Mandarin. But I just want to ask you this question, and I want you to be as honest as possible. Do you believe that musical vocabulary can grow in academia? And on the subset to that is, how did you grow? What was the most important thing for you to prepare you for a life as a musician, which in this culture music is unquantifiable, so you can't monetize. There's no way to monetize something that's unquantified unless you are a big name act, like a Stevie Wonder or whatever. So do you believe that music can grow in academia? Because all the people that you idolize on the Drum Kit and all the cats that I interview for the most part, they went to school, but they did their woodshedding. Their learning experience was on the bandstand night after night after night. So what is most effective about academia, and how has it prepared you for a very tough existence as a musician? You got to sing for your supper.
Yeah, that's a very good question. I've been thinking about this a lot, like at this stage of my life, actually. Because I'm kind of like just going through this period, because I just graduated from school and trying to be in this music industry, but I feel like school really helps me a lot. But I think the most important thing is that you have to understand what is it that mean to you as a musician, or an artist, just in general. Like, why do you want to be a musician, and what are you trying to do? Like, why you see yourself, or why do you even be a musician? And for me, when I was in school, I was just learning consistently. And for me, a very good thing about school is that you can really have a very safe and comfortable environment to learn from a lot of masters. And they give you a lot of guidance, and which is hard to get when you are in this industry if you don't know any people like that. But if you're in school, all your professors, like me, I love my professors in Queens College, and especially my private teacher, Dennis Mercrow. He taught me so much. Like, sometimes in our private lessons, we just talk. We talk about concepts, we talk about why, we talk about how, we talk about like, he's just solving a lot of confusion for me, and he's not just giving me like very academic advices. No, he's giving me very helpful and useful advices, because he's been through that stage before. Yeah, and he's telling me as a drummer, not as a teacher. This is just it happens in school, you know what I mean? But he's not like typing it on a paper and say, here, this is what I'm trying to teach you, He's talking to me as a drummer, and he treated me like a drummer, not a student. I mean, I'm his student, but he knows like I'm a musician, and he's helping me to become a professional musician. He's not just helping me to get good grades. So it's just, you have to be very conscious about what you're getting from the school, and knowing, still keep searching yourself, and know why you're doing this, and really utilize the school environment and get as much knowledge, wisdom from all those people who are masters, because they just have a lot of experiences.
I think it's beautifully put. I would just say that it's just the eternal struggle, because, I mean, you can be instilled with all the wisdom in the world, but if you're not up on the bandstand 3 sets a night, 6 nights a week playing with people, there's just a void. It's just something that has to, it's a big problem in the current musical strata that we live in. It's just one of those things that I've dedicated my show to as well, especially with all these younger spirits like yourself out there who are, so driven, so dedicated, and so loyal to this art form. And Wen-Ting, let's let's plan on doing set two. I knew we'd have a ball, and I'll get a copy of this out to you later today. It was really a high honor to connect with you.
It was fun. Thank you. Nice talking to you.
Yeah, yeah. Have a beautiful day, and 再见.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Just another day at the office. First Rodney Justo, and then Wen-Ting Wu, gifted drummer. I'm off to see G-Soul. Until then, this is the Jake Feinberg Show. Peace.